Share team libraries. Here I have two files, and note how right now they're just normal design files. You see that if you hover over them, you get this blue design file icon. Now this one is called library, and here I store my components. And what I want to do is I want to turn this into a library, and then over here in my design file, I want to set up my design consuming those components from the library. So the first thing we need to do is we basically need to tell this file that it's no longer a design file, but it's now a library. So let's open it. And then inside you can see I have components here, and I also set up some basic variables. So let's jump to the assets panel, and then here you find the library symbol, click on it, and you will see the current file and the option to publish. Now let's add a short description. So here you should be as specific as possible. I'm just going to add first publish for now. And then we get an overview. So you can see here we have our 4 variables, and we could publish all of this, or we could just select certain components or variables to be published. Now let's click publish, and we have successfully published our library. Now it seems pretty much like nothing happened, but if we jump back to our home, then you can see that our icon has now turned from blue to black. So any black icon you'll see, that is a library already. To consume our library, we open our design file. And by the way, you can consume libraries in design files or in other library files as well. So in our design file, we jump to the assets panel. And you can see we also have some presets from Figma we could play around with. But we want to browse our libraries, or simply click on the library symbol again. And now via the drop-down, have a look in your team or any other team, depending on where your library lives. Here you can see the one we just published. So let's add that to our file. And now you can see in the assets panel, we have our library. And here we can see all the different components. And we can, of course, override them and design with them just as in any other file. Now, remember, we also had some variables. If we click on local variables, we don't find them here. But let's say we just draw a shape or a frame, and then via the fill menu, you will see that here you now have a new palette where our library colors are stored. And by the way, you can also separate this. So you could pull in 2 libraries, one for components, one for variables, and then combine them here. You would simply find all of them over here in the assets panel. As you can see, if you click on add more, you could just add to them. And of course, if you want to remove it, same way, just click on the remove button. If you're working in a design file and you want to jump back to the original component, then you can simply select any instance and then via the properties panel, click on the go to main component, and it's going to take you to the file where your original components live. What happens if components are updated? So let's say here we are adding some radius. And then let's also jump into our variables, and let's just change this one here for a, let's say, green, just to make sure that we see the changes. Now you can see there's a little bubble in our library. So review unpublished changes. Let's click on this and click on publish. And you can also see where you found modifications. Now let's publish this. We should have added a description, by the way. And now if we open any file where we use any of the elements that were changed, you will also see this little bubble appearing here. If you click on this, then you're going to get an overview of the update that happened. You can either individually update them or just go for update all.